Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I know I said I'd post another video pretty soon. The last video that I posted was one that I recorded in December, and I told myself, you know what, I'm not going to release that video until I had gotten the approval for my PR. So on March 28th, I got the approval and I had to do a few more steps, and then on April 14th, which was yesterday, I finally got that email. Congratulations, you are now a permanent resident. See there, I'm gonna put it in. But anyway, so let's talk about the process, what it's been like, how long it took, and in case somebody else wants to go through these steps and wants to try applying for their PR, wants to come to Canada, that this might be helpful to you and be beneficial. So first things first, if you've been following my channel, I came to Canada in December. The last 2 days in December, I think it was the 30th of December 2019, and I planned to do a 1-year course at Centennial College, and then from there go about the process of getting my PR. Why Canada? I just felt like it was better going the route of trying to help myself to get my PR rather than going to the US and then having to try and get married and all that. It's just like a little bit too much for me. So yeah, I chose Canada because I felt like it was, at least there was a 50-50 chance that you could do this on your own. So that is why I chose Canada. And I had been to Canada before in 2016 for student exchange program for 4 months. So I was at Trent University then, and then that's in Peterborough, Ontario. So when I came to Canada in December, I went directly to Peterborough because that was the place I was most familiar with, and I knew that the cost of living there was much better than having to go around Scarborough, Pickering, Toronto area. I knew it would have been much more affordable for me, so I said, you know what, I'm going to Peterborough because I knew I was going to be in Canada for a few months before I actually started school. So in my mind, I was like, you know what, I'll use that time to work, make some money before I started school. And then if anybody knows or remembers the horrible thing that happened in December of 2020, it was COVID. Not December of 2020, sorry, December of 2019. COVID happened, and then around March of 2020, they told us that they were locking down everywhere. So it turns out that was just a blessing in disguise for me, because then I did not have to leave Peterborough to move to Pickering or Scarborough to attend Centennial because classes were online. And I had also started working a job full-time at a call center, and they sent me home to work. So I went home to work April of 2020. I started school May of 2020. So I was able to work full-time and go to school full-time, both online, for the full duration of my studies. And as you know, 2020 was just lockdown era. So no schools opened, nothing. You didn't go back to work. So I was just completely working from home and going to school online. And then after 2020, I finished school December of 2020. January, February of 2021, I was just working full time. My study permit, it expired, I think, around March, so I'd already applied for the postgraduate work permit because, granted, I'm now done with school, so I do need to get the correct work permit to work from. And your postgraduate work permit is based on the length of time that you studied. So if it's a 1-year program, you only get that for a year. During March of 2021, my friend assisted me with getting a job at his company in Saskatoon. And because in Saskatoon you only need to work for 6 months before you can start the process for the Saskatchewan nomination program, so it was just like easier than trying to do it in Ontario, which you need to be working at least a year, and it's very competitive in Ontario to get nominated for a provincial nominee, and then you'd have to find the right company for it. So I just felt like, you know what, this was my opportunity, I'll take it. So I worked for the company for a little over 6 months, and then I finally started the process for the nominee program. The process is the company has to actually petition the government on your behalf, and that is the provincial government. So they have to petition for the positions basically, and then once they get the positions, they petition for your name to be applied to that position, and then once that part is done, then they once they get the approval for that, they'll send it to you. You now have to apply to the local or provincial government to get that provincial nominee certificate. And then once you've applied to the local government or provincial government, it takes about maybe 1 to 2 months. I want to say it took about that time. And then after you get your nomination certificate, you can right away apply to the federal government. Now, I think I started the provincial process around, I want to say, September of 2021 or October. And then I didn't get back the certificate until about, say, March. So yeah, it's a few months. So around March. And then right away, as soon as I got that, I applied to the federal government on March 12th. Thankfully, I did it online because they have a certain portal that you can do your SIMP or any provincial nominee application online. Usually you had to send everything to them by mail, but because they now have that online portal, I was just blessed enough to be able to do that option rather than mailing everything. So I stuck with the online. After March of 2021, I applied. September of 2022, not March 2021, 2022. Sorry, so March 2022 is when I applied to the federal government. So September of 2022, they got back to me and they said they've received my application. So this is 6 months after I've applied online. They've received my application and they've started processing. They requested documents again at that time and I sent them back. Then in December, they requested documents again, like the same documents and some more. So I was like, what is going on? But anyway, I did them all over because now you have to do up to the point that they're asking, and I sent them in again. And then I was like, okay, what now? So I've been checking almost every day until March 28th, because I kind of stopped checking as much because I stopped obsessing over it, stopped caring if I got it or not, because I just had other things on my mind. And then finally they sent me an email like, oh, your thing is approved, you just need to do these last couple steps, blah blah blah. So I did those steps and now this is where I'm at. It's current. I got the email yesterday. Oh, okay, you're finally a permanent resident of Canada. So yeah, I should be getting my card in the mail over the next few weeks, and that's it. Nothing more to be done. I'm now a permanent resident of Canada. And how long did that take? So I've been here since December 2019 and it finally came through April of 2023. So you do the math. That's like 3 years and 3 months. Took me 3 years and 3 months to finally have this and be able to do something with my life. I have not left this country in 3 years and 3 months, or 4 months now, because it's April and I'm still not going anywhere. So yeah, I've been here a very long time without being able to travel, because after my first visa expired, when my postgraduate was applied for, my visa had already expired. I did not reapply for the visa because COVID and travel restrictions and all that. So it's like, it's whatever. And then when I finally got my work permit reapproved, I tried applying for the visa then, because I finally got my work permit reapproved in I want to say November of 2022. So yeah, recently. And then I finally applied for the visa in January of 2023, and I still did not get it even up until today's date. So I had to just withdraw the application in March once I got that your permanent resident is approved. I was like, you know what, guys, cancel this because I'm no longer gonna need a visa to travel to Canada. So I canceled that, and they refunded my money like the very next day after they withdrew it. So yeah, and that's that. So if you guys need any more information, like further details into the steps, feel free to reach out. But that's basically it. That's the process that I went through to finally become a permanent resident of Canada. If you want to try the same options, then it's up to you. Is it worth it? Sure. If you're looking for a better life financially, then yeah, definitely. I'm not gonna say it's easier living in a foreign country because it just depends what you consider easy. There are some benefits that comes with living in a third world country, such as, you know, community and stuff like that. But then again, things have been getting really bad in the third world countries too, where people are very aggressive. So regardless, it's like you're, you know, gonna stay away from people anyway. But in these kind of countries, it's more like you're on your own, basically, versus in Jamaica or wherever you're coming from, you probably have friends and family that you can depend on. But in these countries, you are essentially on your own all the time. So be prepared for that. If you're coming with one family member or kids or whatever, then that's somewhat better for you because at least you have that community of friends and family around you all the time. So you have them to depend on. Is there anything else? Yeah, that's it. My advice is, if you're coming, just come prayed up, come guarded, come with your faith grounded. You know, if you're not someone who believes in Jesus and you have not accepted him as your Lord and Savior, then I'm gonna tell you it's gonna be maybe different for you, a different experience than it is for someone who has God to depend on. So yeah, it just depends, and you're probably gonna go through a lot more if you don't have him than you would if you do, because since I've like recommitted my life to Christ and just been like under his protection, under his leadership and guard, things have worked out a lot better, easier, smoother for me. I'm not saying you won't get trials and tests, because the devil is always going to be after the Lord's children, but there is certain comfort that you get from having him as your guard, as your strong tower, your refuge, because you know you're protected, you're divinely covered regardless of what the enemy comes with. You know where your help comes from, so you can look to that hill from whence comes your help. So that's the one beautiful thing about coming with your faith. Some people might come without their faith, and then they end up finding their faith real quick, because you realize that it's some strong spiritual warfare in these countries, because there's just so many unsaved people who have just given access to demons and devils in their lives because they have no grounding in something good, and you know God is good. So yeah, that is it. That is all. Again, if you have any more questions or comments, feel free to reach out. And then I just like all the best if you decide to migrate. And that's it. Bye.